Hello everyone, it's the FPL Grandmaster back again with another video ahead of game week 24. We're going to start straight away by looking at how game week 23 went first. A good week for me, a sizable green arrow, which is something I've been looking for. I have had a few small greens, but it's kind of been negated by a red in the week after that. So it's nice to have a bigger green arrow this week. 51 points. A lot of it owing to captaincy being quite tough this week, and yeah, Haaland obviously being benched, Foden being benched. I actually made my moves on the Friday night, so I had no idea about. I mean, I had my suspicions. You might have heard in the previous video. I thought it would be possible Marmoush comes in for Haaland, who Pep said was quite knackered, but I didn't know about the leaks, so I wasn't aware of them. That's obviously why I had Foden playing as well. But I did bring in Semenyo and Njai last week. They replaced Jack Grealish and Matheus Cunha. Overall, happy with the moves. Obviously, he got benched, but he came off and got the goal and the bonus points also. But these things happen. The main thing was that my captain got a return. So, you take that in the defense. It was all right. I mean, Man United, I didn't expect them to get that result against Arsenal. But things happen. Anderson got me a clean sheet and he got some bonus and AFCON as well. Actually, it wasn't a clean sheet. That was an assist. I realized that. But yeah, the point is he got returns. That's all I can really ask for. And then Mukiele, he got an assist as well against West Ham. Speaking of them, Jared Bowen finally returning for me. Um, Very welcome return. He's obviously when I brought him in for Thiago, it didn't go so well. It's kind of happy for me to finally get something out of that. Thiago blanking this week. Bowen goal and assist. Looks like he's on penalties now. With Paqueta seemingly on the way out for West Ham. So overall, good week. Could have, if I knew about the leaks, maybe I would have done some other things differently, but I'm not sure. Maybe I would have taken a -4 and brought in Enzo, so maybe there's room there for me to make up more ground. But overall, nothing to complain about. Of course, scoring back-to-back weeks. He scored last week and got the clean sheet as well. Now in this game week, scoring again, but it does look like he's going to be out injured. So yeah, more headaches for me, obviously, with him and Bruno, which we'll come to. Um, I'll come to that. But first, yeah, actually, let's go to that now. This is currently how my team is set up for the next game week. Just move myself over here. Yep. So I'm set up like this currently for game week 24. Looks Team looks okay. It looks okay. Um, Nothing too like the fixtures don't look too bad for most of my team, I'd say. The Tottenham game, Tottenham haven't been great, admittedly, so that's not something I'm too concerned about. Chelsea for Jared Bowen, that's gonna be a bit tougher, but sometimes there are gonna be weeks like that and you just kind of have to farm it. Again, I've been relying a lot on Krippy Jr. in the last couple of weeks. I think I'd be happy to start him this week, away to Wolves. I know Wolves they've been a lot better recently, but still happy to play Kroopy there. There are a couple of things to consider, obviously, for me this week. Namely, I mean, in terms of the goalkeeper situation, it could be Dubravka or Sanchez. Just depends how I feel. I think not decided on that yet. Could be either of them. It's more what I do with the one free transfer I have. So, I mean, obviously with the Bruno Guimaraes situation, it seems like he's keen to get back as soon as possible, but don't really know for sure when he will be. What I will say is I would have probably benched him this week anyway, away to Liverpool. That was most likely what I would have done. So as long as he's available for the week after this one, so game week 25, I'd probably be happy to bench him. And with Dorgu, it's a bit of a different situation. I think reports have come out now that he's out for 10 weeks. So that doesn't sound great, but I mean, the thing is, most weeks I would have had him on the bench, I think, anyway. I don't know if it's the biggest priority. I mean, I guess if Bruno's out for a bit, that probably is the biggest one. But the plan this week would have probably been getting rid of Foden to bring in Bruno Fernandes. Um, that's what I would have wanted to do, and then I would have probably captained him as well this week at home to Fulham. Not the easiest fixture. Fulham can be resolute in defence, but that's most likely what I would have done. And right now, I think it's probably what I will still do. I think it depends how long the Bruno injury is going to be. We'll have to see if he starts in that Champions League game in midweek. But it's not ideal for me to get rid of Bruno Guimaraes. If I can help it, I'd rather just keep him in the team. I think Newcastle going forward, they rely on him quite a lot. He's quite a talismanic figure at St James's Park, especially. So with that in mind, he's not. It's not ideal having to move him on, obviously, but we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna make any moves yet, but Fernandez in for Foden would have been the plan this week, and it's most likely what I will do. But we have to see how that goes, of course. And then finally, I thought there was a lot of people are wildcarding this week, so as always, I think it's good for me to just present a wildcard draft. First things first, with the goalkeepers, I've gone with Breyer in goal as the number one and Dubravka to rotate some weeks. You could go for Timber. I've mentioned Timber is a good option also in the Arsenal defense. And one thing to consider, obviously, is with the Carabao Cup fixtures, game week 31 will be a blank for the teams in the final and who they would be playing in game week 31. And for Arsenal, um, that would be them and Wolves blanking in that week. And there's rumors that at least that game gets moved to game week 26. So there's that to consider, but also the blank in 31. And I think it's a bit easier to get around that if you have the Arsenal goalkeeper, you can just rotate for Dubravka as opposed to another Arsenal defender who it will be a bit more difficult to rotate and you might have to use a transfer to get rid or to move someone else on. So that's why I've gone for that. And in the defense, it's quite big at the back. Gabriel, Lacroix, Tarkowski, Chalobah, Mukiele. Mukiele's been solid, decent price point. Not most, but a lot of people I feel will have him. If you don't, I think he's still a decent option. You could go for Alderete if you haven't got Mukiele currently. He's still a solid option, I think. Gabriel has to be there, I think. Lacroix, I mean, I know Guehi's gone now, so it might be a bit difficult for Palace in defense, but I think their fixture run isn't too bad now. It looks decent-ish, so I'd be comfortable there. And Tarkowski and Chalobah, both I think still have decent enough fixtures to warrant having them, and especially with Chelsea, their next four games look quite good, so I would go there. You'll notice in the midfield, the last couple of weeks I've been talking about Cole Palmer being someone I think you have to go for, but the injury with him or injuries they've been going on for most of the season now, and it's kind of hard to tell if he's completely back or if there are like ongoing issues. So I think for over 3 million less, Enzo is a very good option. And I mean, he scored in his last game as well, and he has penalties when Palmer's not there. He's got West Ham at home this week, so I think it's perfectly fine to go there. And I mean, similarly with Declan Rice, I think he's a better option than Saka. I'm probably, I mean, I have Saka in my actual team. It's more just like it's not convenient for me at the moment to make that move. But I think if you're on wildcard, you make that downgrade and you can spread the funds elsewhere. And Jai, he's back now. Grealish is out. And Jai, I think, is the first choice penalty taker at Everton. So I think he's a good option also in that midfield. Rodgers talked about him a lot. He is probably the most safe from rotation in the Aston Villa attack. I've said it every week. Brentford at home this week looks like a decent enough fixture. And then finally, Bruno Fernandes, he's come back now. He looks good. He looks involved in that United attack. And with Fulham at home, I think he's going to be the standout captain, I think, this week. There might be a few others. Maybe got Enzo at home to West Ham as well. That's another option. But I think Fernandes is going to be the standout this week. Then into the attack, Kamane. Again, that's kind of thinking ahead to the double game week 26, where I mean, if Arsenal do go forward, then maybe they get a double in 26 and a blank in 31. So you could maybe play Mane in 26. That's an option. You can also go for Krupi Jr. If you think he's a better option. I have him in my team currently. Haaland, I don't think it's time to move him on yet. I think he's still perfectly good option. And Spurs haven't been great this season anyway. I know he's the only Haaland's the only City player I have on this wild card, but Spurs aren't the greatest team. And I think Haaland, coming back into the team, you'd presume for this game, he has a good chance of getting back to scoring ways there. And then Calvert-Lewin to round out the attack. I mean, I think with this wild card, the plan would kind of be to bench Calvert-Lewin this week. You could even downgrade him to a cheaper forward. I think I said this last week as well. I think if you're on wildcard, you want to really consider um, at least I think at most maybe two forwards. I would even say one forward. So you can. I think it's all about defense this season and in midfield also. But I think with DEFCON being such a big factor and such a big thing this season, I think it's perfectly fine to spend more in defense than you might have in previous seasons. And I think that's when a lot of the points are coming in recent times. So yeah, that's what I would do. Of course, it does kind of leave you a bit stuck at points. I mean, with this draft, if your team value is okay, then you can see there's still 1 million in the bank here. So there are options. There is a bit of flexibility if you want to upgrade Calvert-Lewin, although there's not much at that 7 million price point, but you can probably get there if you downgrade some of the other players like Fernandez. You could transfer out for Mbumo, for example. That's an option. You could you can always rotate the Arsenal and Chelsea. So like you could have Sanchez and Timber rather than Raya and Chalobah. So that's always an option. There's plenty of things you can do and change with this wild card, but I think it's well set up for a large portion of the remainder of the season. But yeah, that's what I have to say this week. I hope it's a good week for everyone. Hope it's a bit helpful, some of the tips I've given. But yeah, wishing you all the best, guys, and catch you in the next one.